This is Straight Up Tekken, episode 21, Fuzzy Defense and Defeating It. This is pretty much our final topic in regards to Tekken's fundamental options and mechanics. After this, all that remains is the workings of a Mishima. As a result, expect this one to be quite extensive. It is extremely important to understand this concept for offense and defense to defeat any player who is truly strong. There is a concept in fighting games known as fuzzy guarding. In modern times, a fuzzy guard is the act of blocking high or low, then switching to the opposite guard to cover multiple options and attacks. There are two kinds of fuzzy guarding in Tekken: KBD and movement fuzzy, and string defense fuzzy. Let us start with string defense fuzzy using Kazuya as an example. Kazuya has three relevant string series for our demonstration: down 4-1-2, down 4-1-4, and down 4-1, down 4-2. Down 4-1-2 and down 4-1-4 are both high, while down 4-1, down 4-2 is a 4-frame gap from down 4-1-2. When we are performing fuzzy ducks, generally the smallest of a gap that is humanly fuzzyable is 3 frames. As such, we can fuzzy duck Kazuya down 4-1 series. By blocking low for a certain number of frames and then standing up, we will duck and be able to launch the high extension of down 4-1 and be able to block the mid extension. This removes the opponent's ability to perform certain kinds of offense, and there are countless strings in Tekken that are able to be fuzzy. However, allow me to provide a disclaimer, an often ignored but very advanced application of knowledge about fuzzying. We have discussed the idea of spending frames, meaning that doing, for example, sidestepping +1 off of a 1 jab and the opponent not responding essentially spends 5 to 6 frames with the full length of a step. So rather than being +1, you would now be around -4 to -5. Let us again look at Kazuya down 4-1 string, but in this case, down 4-1 by itself. As we can see, down 4-1 is -7 on block. Why is this important? Because that means for the opponent to fuzzy duck to beat our high options, with ducking taking at minimum 3 frames, but in this case 3 to 4 to avoid the high extensions consistently. That if the Kazuya does not commit to the extensions, at worst he is functionally -4 instead of -7, and if the opponent took the entire 4 frames, which is more likely, Kazuya is functionally -3, but often even better due to human error. Let us try to jab Kazuya after standing back up from our fuzzy duck. For this reason, when you encounter opponents that you believe truly understand the matchups or the mechanics of string fuzzies, you may try to punish them for understanding the matchup with a strategy such as this, but be careful, as this is quite hard to implement. Now let us look at what many would call the first defensive safeguard of good players, KBD or movement fuzzies. While this can be done from standstill, it is essentially a KBD in input, so I will call it as such. In Tekken, when we mention spending frames, one of the most important parts of the game is the things that concept applies to. Remember how we discussed empty forward dash and the block being mostly safe? The same applies to KBD mixed with low block for a bit in the stand back up, also known as a fuzzy guard. Why this matters is because forward dash and wave dash must spend a minimum amount of frames before inputting the moves. So therefore, we can apply this to our benefit as a primary defense and switch to a more active rather than passive defense when our opponent proves they can defeat it. To give a technical explanation, I would describe passive fuzzy defense as us looking to match our speed of KBD to about half the speed of the opponent's forward movement. In theory, this speed will eat the frames of the opponent's forward dash and therefore make the following attacks have a fuzzyable gap. We can perform this defense passively and block many seemingly well-structured offenses passively rather than actively, freeing up our mental stack and frustrating the opponent with a seemingly invincible defense when best used. However, this is not without weaknesses. Passive fuzzy guard leaves us weak to delayed timing, gives up frames, and provides the opponent good information as to if you prefer defense or offense, and to be passive or active. To blow up a fuzzy guard, Find a move that is either a multiple or the gap between the moves you are doing that the opponent is fuzzying, or lands in between the fuzzy frame. For example, if a cosplayer is doing down back 4 and forward forward 2 is a mix-up, which off of a 2-frame forward dash is a gap of 3 frames, FF2 is 18 after FF, and down back 4 is 22 after forward dash, so let's assume for down back 4 the dash would be 3 frames, making it 23. We can passively fuzzy by matching half the timing of the forward dash, and we can blow up this fuzzy as the cosplayer by using a move such as FF3, which is a gap of 4 frames from FF2 here, which is a reasonable assumed gap for a KBD fuzzy to passively defend. We can also find a move that has a suitable gap for the move that's being fuzzy low or the move that's being fuzzy mid. In the case of Kazuya, to beat down back 4 fuzzies, we could do instant while standing 1+2 because it is 13 before the instant while standing input, and after instant while standing, it would be 17 frames, so landed within the gap between dash FF2 and dash down back 4. Luckily for you, as the fuzzy using defender, players are not frame perfect on every input, and fortunately for the fuzzy defeating offender, the same applies, so it is possible to passively defend gaps that don't seem to be humanly fuzzyable in many cases. Lastly, some drills for the purpose of learning the fuzzy. Against Mishimas, we will pick Kazuya, and for more regular characters, we will pick Shaheen. For Kazuya, we will set up these moves. Wave dash in the block, double wave dash in the block, triple wave dash in the block, double wave dash in the while standing 3, triple wave dash in the while standing 3, double wave dash in the hell sweep, triple wave dash in the hell sweep, and dash FF3. And for Shaheen, we will record these options. Dash block, double dash block, triple dash block, double dash down 3, triple dash down 3, double dash forward 3, and triple dash forward 3. If you want to further improve your ability to passively fuzzy, replace Kazuya's while standing 3 with FF3, and then at the hardest level, instant while standing 1+2. For Shaheen, replace forward 3 with back 1. Experiment with passive defense and make the opponent work for every hit. That's it for this one. Catch you later or not.